Hi everyone, it's Dr. Bernstein, and in this brief video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Alfred Sutro's play A Marriage Has Been Arranged. Now the first thing that you want to think about is the genre. We've moved from short stories to poetry, and now we're getting into plays. So the first thing I want you to be aware of is that you're reading a play, and one of the interesting things about plays, and one of the things that makes them so challenging, is that the writer really has to rely mainly on narrative. And there's this really interesting article by Stephen Greenblatt, a very well-known Shakespeare scholar, and he was talking about Shakespeare's play Hamlet and how that play really represents a significant stage in Shakespeare's growth as a writer of plays, because he was finally learning how to use dialogue as a way to help convey what was going through the mind of a character. So when we're reading a short story, we usually have a narrator or a situation where we're getting inside people's thoughts. It's not so much about what people are saying. If you look back at, say, The Artist of the Beautiful, you'll notice that a lot of the story involves a sort of getting inside the character's mind, and there's not as much dialogue. A play, on the other hand, is very much about dialogue, about the spoken word. However, most plays, if you're reading them, will begin with some sort of stage directions or background information that's really important. Now, if you go see a play, this isn't going to be announced. What you're going to see is you're going to see what's described embodied in the way the actors are holding themselves and positioning themselves on the stage. So when you first start reading this play, I want you to pay close attention to how Lady Aileen and Mr. Crockstead are being described. Like, what are we learning about their characters through this brief description? And one thing that you might want to think about is the difference between their external description and their internal description. For Lady Aileen, at least, there's this conflict between the outer and the inner. And Crockstead is someone who has acquired a great deal of wealth, but he's still sort of seen in a certain way. So when you first start reading, these are the things I want you to concentrate on. Get a clear picture of the character from these descriptions, and think about, what sort of conflicts, what sort of tensions are being set up just through these descriptions. If you go back in your mind all the way to the beginning of the semester when we watched the pilot episode of The Good Wife, you were doing that in relationship to a TV show. You were looking at all the subtle visual and emotional cues that Juliana Margulies' character was conveying, not just through her words, but through the way she presented herself. So now what we're doing is sort of going back to something that's like a drama, but in this case it's really more of a comedy, and we're not seeing the actors perform it, we're getting the words. So that's what I want you to start by considering.